regular meets. We meet roughly about, I'd say, 3 to 5 times a month, just keeping it going. No specific projects, like we get together, kind of figure out what the hell we're gonna do. Are we gonna smash a stack, or we're gonna build something, play with an Arduino, just sit around and kind of come up with stuff. But ultimately, I think the InfoSec box that Hackerspaces put themselves in limits their ability to bring about the true meaning of hacking to the community. Like, we're not just here to make a good rootkit, although we do. We make fine rootkits. We're here to make our community a better place. If we want to get together and feed the hungry on a Saturday to do some community outreach, that not only establishes us in the community, drives participation, but it also promotes group cohesion. So there are things that are side channels to your main purpose that help support you, perpetuate you, and gain momentum in your cause. It's one of those things that you really have to look for. Not everybody's going to have the same interests. And that ad hoc style that Black Lodge does is great. And that fits into the mold of kind of what we do. Everybody gets together and says, hey, what inefficiencies can we remove today from our lives, from our communities, from this box? How can we open it without it wiping the firmware? It's a challenge, across all facets of life. So we kind of extend the meaning of hacking to outside of the traditional ramifications. And keeping with that MIT Train Club style definition of hacking, and applying that to your life and community really enhances the impact that we have as hackers. It gives us not only a positive image in the media, which we're fighting negative images every day, but we actually make real differences. And with that, I think other groups have somewhat, Black Lodge, I know for a fact, has a good amount of ad hoc style get-togethers, and they support 206, but they're not necessarily 206. The core members of 225, we have 10 members here at this Defcon, but we have 59 members total. You have to have those perpetual members, those people who are key holders, those people who are drivers, those people who continually impact the group and their environment every day that they exist. You have to be gung-ho for it. And you can't sit and be introverted and break a de-ice distro every Saturday. It's one of those things that you really have to look forward to. If you're trying to get a group started, or you're dealing with those first lulls in participation or group management, if you can have an outside event, something that is completely non-InfoSec related to cohese the group in between those times you meet, you'll really move forward. That's really how you get it.
I think that's an awesome point. I mean, we do a ton of non-security related, non-hacking related stuff. Cryptos, stand up for a second. Cryptos is one of the key holders and allocated. If you look at the back of his shirt, it's Teach, Learn, Party. We put party right on there. And key hold for you, yeah. But it's one of the things, we do a lot of parties. Cryptos organizes a LAN party once monthly or twice monthly now. Once a month. And basically, he throws out to the mailing list, hey, what games do you want to play? He sets the whole thing up. We're not doing anything except for playing games and drinking beer those nights, okay? I mean, it's one of those things that it brings a lot of people in that would, okay, I don't understand about hacking, but I know how to play the shit out of some Half-Life.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they'll sit down and they'll come and actually start to talk, the conversations continue, and they're like, oh, that's something I'd be interested in, and it does bring new people. That's a great point.
So, Black, when you were talking trivia, are you just talking like Trivial Pursuit or something
No,
low
so
steam?
rather than most implementations of trivia, and this is an aside, we don't do the digital sort of Hooters version, play with the little device, although that would kind of be fun to target. We play random ash trivia is what it's called, rat trivia, where a human sits up front and we play against all the groups in the spar. And what it does is it really gives a personal, localized level to a gainful knowledge perspective. Who can think on their feet? Hacking's not about a razor-like knowledge about something. It's a general understanding of how the system works. Knowing how to manipulate it is the next step. For instance, Riddler just one day set out and said, well, what the fuck is this smashing the stack stuff? What is this assembly? And he had a point and he had a target. And I think we sat at my house and like he sat and annotated the assembly. And, we were just drinking beer, bullshitting. I think we just got together to drink beer. And, it ended up with him having a fairly good understanding of assembly, how the stack works, and he went into it not knowing really anything about it, a very intimidating subject to somebody. And he came out of it as an individual. I think he's reading an IDA Pro book right now as I talk. Way to go. No, but it admits the
point. Put the book away, motherfucker.
Well, no, and those community events are kind of what's necessary too, that are outside the standard. Like, okay, we do pen test days where we invite people over to build a box and smash the crap out of it. One of our members here, Don, he actually built one of a nice VM servers for us to attack. But one of our other events that's really fun is we have someone over here named Lise who organizes a gaming night where it's all retro arcade. So one floor of our hackerspace is a retro arcade, and downstairs is a different set of games, and it's just kind of cool to get everyone together and do that. But I think when you were talking, a couple of points came to mind in terms of hackerspace formation. Now for a couple of years now, we've had talks where we had hackerspaces and kind of what people have done with their hackerspaces and the basic cookie cutter template. And then have you guys felt the need to have to start that way? Or have you, or for the hackerspaces and groups that are new, have you felt the need to kind of fit that mold? Or did you just kind of do it randomly when you approached it?
Yeah, so like, for instance,
Wait a second. I want to interrupt you because I want to get a chance for NRK Angel and Jiharo to speak because that's a great question for them to answer.
Fair enough.
Then you can answer.
Well, actually, to expand a little bit on what he said, we also try, we have planned, to expand a little bit on what he said, we also have planned events, but through research and just getting online, I was able to find there were lots of other social and community groups that are, I guess you could call tech related. We have a Linux user group in Milwaukee. There's a regular Reddit meetings, and there's MilSec meetings, all different kinds of other meetings. And I kind of encourage our members to hijack those meetings if they can. Just go there and represent DC 414, and that keeps us together. That way we get outside of our usual mold and kind of go out there and party it up a little bit with the other groups. But yeah, we kind of went for a randomized.
Well, we're pretty small. We got like maybe 8 to 10 regular members right now, and we're only about 6 months old after it kind of died out. But to get it going, it's not difficult. I mean, as Black said, you need to be there. Persistence is the key.
Our first like 3 meetings, we were the only guys there. So.
Yeah, so I mean, you just show up at the place, you get the word out, you get your communication channels open, IRC, HTTP, mailing lists, social networking, and all that, and people will find you. I know Vlad was just searching. He's in the security biz, and one of our members, he's attending Defcon this year, so he Googles Defcon Milwaukee, and he finds our site, and he shows up, and he's a great asset. And you just got to know, you find these really smart guys, and you find those core members, and you recognize their skills, and you just kind of start brainstorming from there, and everything starts to grow.
Yeah, I also found it's good to try to cater to their skills. Like we've had a guy who was strictly a Java programmer, so I personally went out and tried to find educate myself as much on Java as I could, so that he would feel more at home when he came to meetings. We have a guy who's a locksmith genius. I mean, the guy is just unbelievable, and I went beyond that and trying to learn as much about it as I could, so that I would be able to converse with him and keep him interested in the group. It's more than just doing what you want to do. You have to realize that the group is carried on the backs of your members. So you definitely have to try to keep them as happy as possible. At least I've found that.
Yeah, you got to come up to the mic.
So Yeah. Good.
I just wanted to say something about the community outreach thing, because we're fairly new, DC207. We just kind of restarted up back in October. We're a long way from having a hackerspace, but one of the things we're looking at is that Portland has a really strong art community. There's a lot of industrial artists that don't have spaces, so we're actually looking at getting space from a studio that already has this type of set up, where it's just a big open space or something like that, where we can actually bring some of the industrial artists into it who need access to machines and other things that they may not have access to. People like doing metalsmithing in their bedrooms or something like that. So I don't know if you guys thought about that at all either, or trying to get into something completely not related to technology.
Completely. To add to that, we have one of our members who actually studies lapidary, which is watchmaking. Has a whole bench that's just completely made just for that, and it has nothing to do with it. He kind of makes some cool steampunk watches and jewelry and stuff like that. It's kind of neat.
Yeah, so that was just another thing that I wanted to throw out there too.
Yeah, with that, going back to what you had asked earlier about the templated sort of hack space, a lot of people have this idea that they have to go get these laser etching, laser cutters, just like this shopping list, when in reality they only need whatever they need to achieve their purpose. If you really want to make 303 badges, sure, you need a CNC machine, you need some laser etchers, you need to go through the steps, but you procure those as you need them. Going with your artist question real quick, I really don't have much to say about the artistry thing, but I can give you an analog. For instance, we like to break into things. And so our idea is we have about $1.5 million worth of hardware that was donated to us through a corporation. And we're going to create an elastic computing environment where members of our Defcon group and others connected to our darknet can make a request saying, look, I need an XP SP3 machine with these patches in order to break. Maybe these groups don't have those resources, but maybe we can offer those resources to give the sort of elasticity to the groups to be able to provide those machines. If you have a CNC machine and there's another group that says, man, I need to cut this or do this, maybe you can lease space to them. Make these resources known to other groups. We are much greater than just the sum of our parts. When we communicate, we achieve way more. And remember that, it is something, that's the point here, is hackers aren't the people you read about, they're the people you drink with. That is the pure point of all of this. And with that, I'll go ahead and defer to the guy with the mic, or Converge.
One real quick question. Would any of your groups be interested in resources like that? Anyone?
I was going to ask, how many...
That's the easy answer.
How many group point of contacts do we have in the room right now? I'm one too. Cool.
I think as a takeaway item to add to that kind of sentiment is, as Hackerspace and group owners, I know a lot of us are, and members, we need to do a better job of kind of maybe reaching out to those other hackerspaces and groups and creating those connections, whatever they may be. Maybe it's a cool darknet between hackerspaces where you're sharing data or creating these cool little local networks for yourself, or maybe it's that you're in the same city and one shop has a laser cutter and can work out a situation where you're working with that group to share those resources. We should be pooling those resources where and how we can.
Yeah, and to add that, I would say don't be afraid to go outside of the technical realm. Try to find other area groups that just have the same sort of mentality or main goals that are outside of computer security. We've sought out the Candlelight Collective in our area, which is, I guess I would say, a space for punk rockers to hang out at, but they basically have the same, F the man feel that our group has to it. So we communicate with them even though they're not, they're completely outside of the security realm.
There's a lot of talk about shared resources, liking this Smash thing, which is cool. I love doing it too, but there's a fine line when you have resources of being a legitimate organization in the eyes of the public and still doing cool security resources, security research, whatever you want to do. How do you walk that line? How do you manage it? How do you manage your risk for that?
Yeah, so let's